5 minutes ago, Lindsey Graham read out the phone records that caused Kash Patel's face to turn pale in front of everyone today. Graham, the Republican senator from South Carolina, slowly opened the phone records in his hand and began reading with the following sentences. January 20th, 4:47 p.m. Caller, White House switchboard. Caller, FBI Director Kash Patel. Duration, 17 minutes 34 seconds. He paused while saying this and looked at Patel. 17 minutes 34 seconds. Your first day. 37 minutes after a 47-minute meeting with Trump. Who called? Patel couldn't say anything in response to this question, because Graham would read not just one call, but 47 different calls, all of them, date by date, hour by hour, minute by minute, and every call would prove Patel's connection to Trump. Patel couldn't answer, because the records were out there and documented, and Graham was going to read them live on air for everyone. Watch this video until the end, because in the next few minutes, you will see how an experienced senator cornered an FBI director with phone records, and how 47 calls were read one by one. What happened in Congress today was not just an interrogation. This was a telecommunication record exposing the lies. Let's get to know Lindsey Graham, 70 years old, a senator from South Carolina, in the Senate since 2003, but not an ordinary senator. He served as a JAG officer in the Air Force, military lawyer. He worked in military law for 33 years. He was first commissioned in 1982. He retired in 2015 with the rank of colonel. So Graham knows how to collect evidence. He knows how to examine the documents in their most detailed form. But most importantly, he knows how to read phone records. Because in military courts, especially in espionage and treason cases, phone records are the strongest evidence. Who called whom, when they called, and how long they talked. Everything is recorded. Everything is evidence. Graham had used phone records in hundreds of military cases, in treason cases, in cases involving connections with spies, and every time he learned one thing: records don't lie. People do, but AT&T, Verizon, phone companies, they record everything. Today, Graham was going to use those recordings against Patel, just like in a spy case. Kash Patel, 46 years old, FBI Director. He took office on January 20th, 2025, the first FBI Director appointed by Trump. Since the day he was appointed, he was in constant communication with the White House. There were dozens of phone call records, sometimes showing him being called by the White House multiple times in a single day. In all the records, but Patel described these calls as routine calls. Graham would prove today these calls were not routine, but directive. As the clock struck 10:33 a.m., the trial was just beginning. Graham was early in line. He had a thick file in his hand. It had AT&T phone records written on it. Patel felt uneasy when he saw that file, because he knew phone records are not deleted. Every call is recorded. Date, time, duration, number. Everything is there. Graham had taken them all. "Director Patel," said Graham, his voice with a South Carolina accent, "I will tell you about your phone records. FBI Director's phone. Since January 20th, 2025. He opened the file. "We obtained these records from AT&T with congressional authority. Full record. Every call is available here." Patel leaned into the microphone. "Senator, some inquiries are confidential." "Not classified," Graham interrupted Patel, saying, "The FBI Director's official phone is not classified. It is subject to congressional oversight. We have a record of every call." Graham opened the first page of the record. January 20th, 2025, first day. The phone was activated at 08:47 in the morning. The first call was at 09:03. Called, FBI Deputy Director. Duration, 4 minutes. Routine. Second call, 09:34. FBI Operations Chief. 7 minutes. Routine. He stopped. Third call, 10:23. Caller, unknown number, Washington, D.C. area code. Duration, 2 minutes, 47 seconds. Who is this? Graham continued. Unknown number, but we set this number, the White House auxiliary switchboard. So you were called from the White House on your first day at 10:23. Who called? Patel replied as follows. It could be routine coordination. Who called? Graham repeated. I want a name. Give me a name. Patel didn't say a name. Graham turned to another page. Okay, let's move on. It's 3:23 p.m., the time you went to the White House. Visitor log. You met with Trump for 47 minutes. You left at 16:10. At 4:47 p.m., 37 minutes later, you were called again from the White House. Duration, 17 minutes, 34 seconds. Who was the caller? Graham read. The calling number, White House Oval Office direct line. In other words, you were called from Trump's desk, 37 minutes after a 47-minute meeting. You talked for 17 minutes. What did you talk about? Patel said, Senator, my conversations with the president, executive privilege. Graham interrupted. I know. Okay, then I'll just read. Listen. Graham opened the second page. January 21, second day, 08:12. Call from the White House. Duration, 9 minutes. 11:34. Back to the White House. 4 minutes. 14:56. Again. 12 minutes. 18:23. Again. 8 minutes. Stopped. 4 calls. On the second day. All these calls were made from the White House. While Graham was saying this, Patel was quietly listening to what was being said. Graham turned to the third page. January 22, third day, 09:47, White House, 6 minutes. 1:22 p.m., White House, 11 minutes. 4:08 p.m., White House, 15 minutes. 7:34 p.m., White House, 3 minutes. He stopped. 4 more calls. Third day. He looked at Graham Patel. 11 calls in 3 days. All of them were from the White House. Average duration, 9.7 minutes. Total of 107 minutes of speech. I'm asking you, is this routine coordination? Graham hasn't read the critical day yet. January 31, the day Patel halted the Epstein investigation. How many calls were there that day? From whom? How long did they last? Graham will now read that day. Patel's face will turn pale. If you've watched this video up to this point, please hit the like button. Write in the comments, do you think this many searches are normal? 11 calls in 3 days, all to the White House? Routine? Leave your guesses behind, because now Graham will read the phone record from January 31st. Graham jumped ahead. I will only read you the critical days, because if I read every day, it would take hours. He opened a new page. January 30, a day before halting the Epstein investigation. 7:34 a.m. Call from the White House. Duration, 23 minutes, 11 seconds. 7:34 a.m. You haven't even come to work yet. Who called and what did you talk about? Patel remains silent, but Graham continues undeterred. 11:47, back to the White House. 18 minutes. 15:23, again. 31 minutes. 18:56, again. 14 minutes. Collected. 4 calls. Total, 86 minutes. On January 30th, 1 day earlier, Graham opened the most critical page. He raised the paper in his hand into the air. January 31, the day you stopped the Epstein investigation. Here is the complete record of that day. I will read it minute by minute. Saying, please listen carefully, he put on his glasses. He started reading slowly. Morning 8:03, White House switchboard number. Caller, registered as unknown, White House internal line. Caller, FBI Director Patel. Duration, 12 minutes, 7 seconds. Patel wrote a note. Morning briefing, you wrote. Which briefing is this? Patel remained silent again, while Graham continued. 10:47. Again the White House. This time it's a direct line to the Oval Office. Duration, 27 minutes, 41 seconds. Patel, you spoke with the Oval Office for 27 minutes. Who answered the phone? Trump or one of his aides? 12:34. Noon. Again the White House. Main switchboard. Duration, 9 minutes, 18 seconds. They call almost every 2 hours. Is this normal? Graham, showing the most critical call, said, now the real critical call. 1:56 p.m. It's 4 minutes to 2 in the afternoon. This is the White House Oval Office direct line. Caller ID analysis shows us this. The phone on Trump's desk. Duration, pay close attention, 41 minutes, 18 seconds. He paused and looked at the people in the hall. 41 minutes. At 2 in the afternoon. Records also show this. You were not at FBI headquarters during this call. The office phone was forwarded to the White House, so you were somewhere else, but Trump called you. Graham swiped his finger. The 41-minute call ended at 14:37. What happened next? At 14:41, you called the FBI headquarters. Someone from the inside. Legal advisor. You talked to him for 4 minutes. What did you say? Did you say, prepare the directive? The directive is ready at 14:52. Your signature has been placed. The Epstein investigation will be stopped. And look at the minute difference. The 41-minute search ended at 14:37. The directive was signed at 14:52. There are 15 minutes between them. 15 minutes. Patel tried to speak. Senator, decisions are independent. 41 minutes. Graham raised his voice. 41 minutes of calls from the White House. A directive 34 minutes later. Is this an independent FBI director or the White House's phone operator? Patel stood up. Senator, this accusation. Sit down. Graham raised his voice. I haven't finished yet. There are still 42 days left. Patel sat down slowly. Graham opened a new file. February, 28 days. Do you know how many calls there were from the White House? He turned the page. 67 searches. In 28 days. An average of 2.4 calls per day. A total of 714 minutes. So 11 hours and 54 minutes. In a month, 12 hours of conversation with the White House.
Graham opened another page. March, 31 days, 71 calls, 823 minutes, 13 hours and 43 minutes. Another one. April, 30 days, 64 calls, 687 minutes, 11 hours, 27 minutes. Graham collected. From January to April, 4 months, 213 calls, 2,428 minutes, 40 hours and 28 minutes. On the phone with the White House. As the FBI director. Independent? Now look at what Graham has put forth. 213 calls in 4 months, 40 hours of conversation. A directive in 34 minutes after 41 minutes on the critical 31st of January. This cannot be independence. This is an instruction. Patel tried to defend himself. Senator, coordination with the president as the FBI director. Coordination? Graham interrupted. Christopher Wray, the former FBI director, he served for 4 years, during Trump's time. Do you know how many times he spoke with the White House in total? Graham pulled out another document. Wray's phone records. 4 years, 2017 to 2021. Total White House searches, 47, in 4 years. An average of 11.7 searches per year, not even 1 call a month. Graham compared. Wray, 47 searches in 4 years. You, 213 searches in 4 months. Your rate is 18.2 times Wray's, 18 times more. And you call this coordination? What kind of coordination is this? Patel bowed his head. Graham opened the last page. And here's the final detail. How many of the 213 calls were from you to the White House? He read the number. 37 calls. So, 17%. How many of them are from the White House? Number. 176 calls. 83%. So mostly they are the ones calling you. You don't call. So what is happening? They give orders, you report. He looked at Graham Patel. Director Patel, The FBI director should be independent, but you operate like an extension of the White House. 2 calls a day, every day, for 4 months, and in critical decisions, 41-minute calls. This is definitely not the FBI directorship. This is no different from being White House staff. Patel's face went pale, he was silent, and Graham sat down. I have no further questions. The phone records have been entered into the records. 213 calls, 40 hours, 18 times Ray, January 31st, 41 minutes, 34 minutes later, the directive. Everything is being recorded.
Journalists took notes. Headlines are ready. Graham read phone records. 213 calls, 40 hours, Patel unanswered. CNN aired it live. MSNBC conducted an analysis. Even Fox News remained silent because the numbers were clear. 213 calls were undeniable. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications because this story doesn't end here. The phone records are in Congress. 213 calls are recorded. Each one can be examined, and even if Patel says executive privilege, it doesn't change the fact that the calls happened. Lindsey Graham cornered Kash Patel today with phone records, AT&T records, from January to April. 213 calls from the White House, 40 hours and 28 minutes of conversation. Critical January 31, 41 minutes of searching, 34 minutes after the Epstein directive. Christopher Wray comparison, 47 searches in 4 years. Patel, 213 in 4 months, 18 times more. 83% of the calls are from the White House to Patel, so in order. Patel couldn't respond because the records are clear. Graham read it aloud, date by date, hour by hour, minute by minute, and every number proved Patel was not independent, not the FBI director, White House staff. Phone records don't lie. 213 calls, 40 hours, everything is clear.